Approximately 7:15 p.m. on Wednesday, April 13th, 2011. The first item on the agenda is to approve the minutes. I have the minutes from March 9th, 2011.
I make a motion we approve the minutes of March 9th as printed.
I read it and I'll second it. Accept it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I have the minutes of the meeting March 23rd, 2011.
Make a motion we accept the minutes of March 23rd, 2011.
And I'll second it.
For discussion, on the second page, fourth paragraph, I think after this you should know also that because Attorney Murray was present, Attorney Murray concurred that, in fact, when I tried contacting Partridge, Snow and Hahn, and I stated that our attorney was out on vacation and the other one was out for personal issues, he actually concurred that that was the case. So you can just make a separate paragraph.
Yep.
And we can approve the minutes
Subject to that.
subject to that being added.
How do you want it to read?
Well, just put after that paragraph, Attorney Murray concurred that, in fact, one of the attorneys that we usually contact was out on vacation, and he was not available for personal issues for that week that I tried contacting him. And also, and then the next paragraph where it states here, after motion was made by committee member Joseph Sylvia and seconded by committee member Kevin Mel, it was voted unanimously to appoint attorney Anthony Sevastano as, that should read, additional counsel for the district. Any other questions on the minutes of March 23rd? With those changes, all in favor?
Aye.
Minutes from April 6th, 2011.
Do we need to have, at the end, we left for executive session, then we came back and closed out the regular meeting?
I don't think that's necessary. We don't this like what.
I don't think we came back in.
Okay,
No, because when we went into executive session, that was, we did not say we were gonna come back into open.
okay.
When we ended it.
Yeah, so we didn't come back into open.
Make a motion to accept the minutes of April 6, 2011.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next item, approve warrants. Actually, before that,
Get rid-
Attorney Murray's supposed to be here.
Okay, well, let's do payroll and
Yeah.
get the guys go.
Yeah.
He is here.
Warrants. He is here? Well, before we did the warrants, I wanted to meet with him and then come back.
Well, we
There's a
can do
reason why.
payroll, no? Get most of the guys going and let them get going.
Yeah, let's just do the, okay, on payroll. We'll do the warrants, just the payroll warrant.
You have questions
No.
on the other warrant for him?
Fine.
Okay.
I might have questions on the payroll warrant, too. So, Attorney Murray, is he around?
He's in the other. Jake wouldn't got him.
Okay. What we should do is
There you go.
convene into executive session for about, it's only going to take 10 minutes, and then come back and open.
So you want to go in the back office?
We'll go
or-
downstairs. Downstairs.
Whatever you want.
Yeah,
Is it on the agenda, executive?
yes, it is. He's going to take it out of order.
Is that all, are we going to go back into?
Oh, we're going to come back into,
after?
we're going to go into executive session, take it out of order, and then come back into open to finish everything else. We have quite a bit on the agenda tonight.
Okay, but we're not going to go back into executive a
No.
second time? We'll
No.
take care of it all at once?
Right.
Fair enough.
We actually have on the agenda executive session pending litigation. What I'm going to do is go have the board, if they so desire, go into executive session. It should only take about 10 minutes, and then we're going to come back into open session because we have quite a bit on the agenda. So, is there a motion to go into an executive session?
I'll make a motion.
Roll call.
Second?
Yes.
Favor, aye. Roll call. Joe Silver?
Joe Sylvia.
Aye.
Aye.
Kevin
Aye.
Merrill? Aye. Kevin Santos? Aye. We will come back into open session. And you don't have to leave the room because we're just going to go downstairs. And we'll be right back up. Okay, Mike? Executive session, and we'll reconvene our regular meeting. Approve the warrants. Warrant number V10 in the amount of $29,516.78.
I make a motion, we approve.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
One more signature.
Could we have the breakdown on this? This warrant right here.
It's,
Oh, okay. I thought you had it. This is for,
You're looking for a line item.
yeah, what? This is for P10, the amount of $24,092.67 for payroll.
I make a motion to accept P-10.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Did you find what you were looking for?
No, not really.
Ready
I was
up?
actually looking,
I believe.
let's see what, question, Chief. The duty, the amount for $3,577.50, is that for 2 weeks?
The duty,
Yeah.
that should be, well, I'm not seeing the paper you're seeing, but the treasurer can help me out, that should be probably for the whole month.
It's for the month?
That's for a month, not 2 weeks. And the only thing, if I may add, under training there, one of our firefighters had quite a bit of hours in training. Just quick, doing math, real quick, probably about 60, 70 hours, give or take. I'm not 100% sure on what's there. We actually are going to receive reimbursement for $14.70 back into the training account from a grant. All his hours, all his training for technical rescue was paid under a grant.
Did we see the money yet?
The grant is been put in. The agreement with the county and Serped was that every department that sent the member shall be paid within this fiscal budget.
Was he the only member that was sent?
We actually had 3 members that signed up. It was posted. 3 members signed up, and he was the one that was picked by the Technical Rescue Committee. So he's getting reimbursed for it.
Do you have an answer to the 48
Yeah.
hours miscellaneous?
What I have is, at the last meeting, if I may, in the March 9th meeting, I was assigned for the website for the individual to get the fire. This is his breakdown of hours that he submitted, which come out to the 48. This is what he did under the fire department's half, which he has for the chief, 8 hours to do this. It's all broken down on Prudential committee hours, procurement officer, clerk, fire chief, fire alarm, burn details. District was for the district, and miscellaneous, all his hours are broken down there. This is what he did for the district, which is part of the Prudential committee. This is the district clerk, all the annual reports, meetings, and warrants for the district clerk. He also did on the website calendar for the fire district, and he set up the procurement officer with his site, and he also put in for the bid invitation. Under the fire department, it was estimated for the fire department alone, 3 to 4 hours max per month to maintain. Now, if the
So,
The district
is
one.
this a one-time cost?
unless the Prudential Committee asks him to put stuff on, the district clerk asks him to put stuff on, the procurement officer asks him to put stuff on. 3 to 4 hours is more than enough to maintain the fire department calendar that's there, so the guys, to maintain all the emails with the guys, so we can send out emails, all the events for the fire department, all the photographs for the fire department. 3 to 4 hours is more than enough.
Yeah, because at the meeting where this was brought up, you were asked to bring to the board exactly what you thought, would cost. So this is kind of a surprise of 48 hours here. Well, probably the website, let me see, because there's some other items in here.
There is.
So
it's
maybe
fire
like, probably what, about approximately 40 hours for the website. So that's why I'm questioning, is this a one-time, or are we going to be presented with a bill like this, like on a monthly basis?
Once again, from the fire chief, max you're going to see from the fire chief is 3 to 4 hours.
Okay. I would suggest then as one member that, seeing we're responsible for paying these bills, that if anyone needs to put any items on the website, they have to go through our board.
In
Because-
addition to the 4 hours.
To the 3, yeah.
To the 3 to 4
Yeah.
hours. So let's say 4 hours a month.
Yeah.
Anything above and beyond that would
Right.
have to go.
Because
Fair enough, Chief.
Because here you have you have all these
I didn't know
individuals.
about- I
Right.
had this conversation with the chairman yesterday. When we left the March meeting, both sides of the table were under the understanding that I thought was that the gentleman was going to get the website up and running to the point of it up and running. And then we were going to come back with how many hours we felt to maintain it. Well, it's up and running under the fire department's app. We feel 3 to 4 hours, which is standard with other departments, to maintain just the fire department app. What our website is a fire department and fire district website. Where other fire departments, it's only the department. There is no annual reports, there's no Prudential Committee, there's nothing else, just the fire department. So under the fire department's app, I agree, 3 to 4 hours. If the district clerk, the procurement officer, or anybody else wants anything outside the fire department, they have to get your permission. I agree with that.
How do the other members feel?
I agree with making a motion.
A second.
Okay, a motion was made that in any additional hours in a month time, a 30-day time, more to exceed 4, has to come before this board for approval. All in favor?
Aye.
I see a procurement officer, Marcel. Any update, Marcel? for us?
The bid opening is tomorrow at 4:30 here. I've put out about in excess of 25 proposals to various vendors, 25 different vendors. Spending quite about an amount of time answering questions and showing people the site, doing whatever, and emailing and faxing and everything else. So I would expect we're going to get a pretty decent turnout. The major thing is going to be reviewing these bids and suggesting to you who the
Lowest bidder.
successful bidder is. Because I think there's going to be a lot of variations in the bid.
Okay. Okay, great. Next item that I have is, at the last meeting, Chief, I was actually out in the garage, and I was there talking to some of the firefighters, and I was looking at Rescue 9. 6, okay? And I didn't realize that Rescue 6 only has 20-something thousand miles. How many miles does it have on it?
It has more hours than mileage. Engine 1 probably left here almost 30 years old with probably 30,000 miles on it. The trucks have hours. Fire trucks go by hours, they don't go by mileage.
What is the mileage on it?
I'm sure
You're
it's
telling
low.
me already.
I'm sure it's low. Because the majority of the fire trucks will go from point A to point B and just sit there and run for 8 to 10 hours.
'Cause
Again,
what I-
depending on the
What I'm
product.
concerned is, at the last meeting, for the last 2.5 years, I've been in the forefront of a rescue dive team. Not a recovery, but a rescue. And we spent so much money on this dive team and continue to spend so much money on this dive team for for the training and the equipment. And then one of the meetings, we were talking about, well, we might need a vehicle. And we're talking about everything from vans to bread trucks. And we have a vehicle out there that I'm questioning now on Rescue 6. Even though it has hours, the hours on that vehicle is not going to pertain to the mileage, because I would be concerned that a vehicle that has low mileage to get us from point A to B. So if you have a vehicle like that with the type of engine it has in it, that can probably last 250,000 on those engines. Why wouldn't we want to use that for our dive team instead of giving it away to someone else or trade it in when they're going to end up selling it, or possibly could sell it for a lot more money? We could end up spending $10,000 or $15,000 for a bread truck when in fact we have a vehicle there. And doing some research, there's one just like that, pretty much, available for quite a bit of money here, $35,000, with quite a lot more mileage. So just being fiscal responsible, why, shouldn't we keep that Rescue 6?
A couple of things, Mr. Chairman. One, before the truck committee started and we had the agenda to get a new truck, the chief made the recommendation to keep the vehicle and use it. I called it as a rescue truck, but it would be like a special ops truck for the divers to tow the hazmat trailer, to put all the hazardous material on it, transport. At that time, nobody wanted to keep it. We had an article that was written, the voters voted, the article was clear to replace 2 vehicles with 1 vehicle. It was to replace engine 1 and replace that vehicle.
The article on the warrant?
The article on the warrant. On top of that, that vehicle, we have not since it was voted last year. If you go look at the vehicle, you will see an oil leak underneath her engine. You will see a diesel leak underneath her generator. You will see the seal between the cab and the body leaking. And she goes in probably every month, every other month, that her maxi brakes let go. When the RFP was written by the committee and approved by the chief, there was 3 options for the Prudential committee. Option A was keep the truck. Option B was sell the truck. Option C was trade the truck in. The Prudential committee made a motion to trade the truck because they did not want to keep it. They did not want to sell it. I can tell you, if we keep Rescue 6, and we had a meeting at 6:30 today with 3 of the divers, that truck really won't suit them. We have no money. We cut our budget for fiscal 112. We didn't put nothing in there to fix Rescue 6 because we have to get the oil leak fixed. We have to get the brakes fixed. And on top of that, if it goes to the dive team, then any monies, now that there's an article, and the article your board voted on was for equipment and supplies, and I believe...
I thought the truck was fully equipped.
Wait, hold it.
No. I'm talking about keeping Rescue 6. If you're going to keep it for the divers, what is the money? Is that for the new truck?
No.
That's 2 years ago.
2010. You have 10?
Is it this gray one right here? 2010?
No, I'll find it. Wait, let me find it.
Well, isn't it a moot point? Isn't that truck under contract? Is part of our P&S for the new truck?
No,
Which we've already made the first payment.
We still have to sign the
You
title.
actually have paid $250,000
Right.
already towards the new truck.
Yeah.
Okay, we heard, since when I was in DC, in regards to the possibility, I have contacted Pierce. Pierce came to the table, technically, the Prudential committee technically voted in 2 public meetings. Twice, not once, twice. They signed the contract twice in 2 separate months to trade that vehicle in. Pierce actually has that truck, 2 verbal agreements in selling it. What was stated to me was if the Prudential Committee wanted to keep the truck, well, legal counsel is here, hire legal counsel to rewrite a contract. It will go to Pierce's legal counsel for Pierce to approve, accept, or deny. Because there are stipulations in the RFP that the fire department put out in regards to anybody wanting to change any part of the contract. Both parties had to agree on it in writing. And what I'm telling you is you got a truck that's probably going to be here in about 60 days. We already gave them a check a couple of months ago for $250,000. If the Prudential Committee wants to keep it, what Pierce has said, they have no problem. Have your legal counsel put it in writing to go to their legal counsel because they technically already have the truck sold. They already have the truck sold.
I have a question, Chief. You said that on the warrant last year.
No, when the truck was...
The warrant. You said...
Correct.
I want to see what you just made a statement that. Find it for me.
This is to replace one 1978 Pierce fire engine and one 1985 E1 heavy rescue. Right there in the small print, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
That's what was told to the voters last year, that we were going to replace both vehicles. We were going to do away with both trucks. That's why Westport has our truck. And again, if by Pierce, as of Saturday, if the Prudential Committee wants, they have no problem. They just need it per RFP that was sent out and per the contract that the Prudential Committee signed. Just got to have our legal counsel put it in writing what we want or what the district wants.
I'd like to have that truck back. I don't want to give it up. And you know what? This committee signs the title. The chairman does. And to be honest, I don't want to sign that title over. I think that truck is very valuable to this department. And it's common sense.
Legal counsel, if he's here, you might want to talk to him because you could be breaching a contract.
Well, I just don't want to sign the title. You know, I
have a question. How
Yeah.
can we, that was voted by the annual meeting, how can we go against what was voted by the annual meeting? That was part of the article, those vehicles.
Well, see, no, wait, this is it right here. See, this says actually a vote to transfer $100,000 from surplus revenue and transfer $500,000 for the stabilization fund, a total of $600,000. Okay. Now, if it's not. I don't feel it's breaching our contract of providing us with a fire apparatus. Okay. What we did was we said, okay, we'll give you that fire apparatus on a trade-in for $10,000. I just think that right now, instead of us spending money on buying a vehicle, and maybe more than $10,000 on maybe a bread truck or a van, we'll just cut them the check for $10,000 and keep our vehicle.
Can I just... If the Prudential Committee chooses to do that, where is the $10,000 going to come from?
Well, we'll find it like we did for $5,000 for your laptop. I mean, Chief, that's a good piece of apparatus out there.
Not only that $10,000, where is the money going to come from to maintain that? You have the fire chief tell the public, and in the annual report, which it should be right there, in the annual report, in the chief's report, the chief told the voters, if I may look at it, to make sure, I don't want to miss...
We didn't say anything about trading it in. Doesn't
You
say
have
anything
the
specific.
2000, the annual report.
This right here?
That's the warrant. The annual report, the chief does a statement every year. And I believe if you read that statement that went out in the annual report to the voters, it said that the truck was unsafe, it didn't meet NFPA standards.
Well, you know what? That's to be a fire apparatus. This is to be a rescue.
No, but
Okay, this is, you know.
It still
See,
has to maintain
you know what the
NFPA
problem I have
standards.
is,
Is that in writing
Last-
somewhere? You got a paper for that?
yeah.
What?
I'd like to have that in
Saying
writing.
It's not,
It's
they
not
gave
safe.
you a thing saying it can't be used? Is that what you're saying?
It does not meet the standards. That's what we told the voters. If the Prudential...
Standard for
you're gonna-
dive rescue or standard
It's a
for-
fire truck.
For
It
what?
doesn't make a difference. It's a fire truck. We spent $250,000 on a fire boat because to have the word belong to the fire department, it had to meet NFPA standards.
What's
All
the
I'm
standards
saying
for a
is,
rescue truck?
all I'm saying is, we had a meeting with 3 divers today, and the 3 divers, I don't,
Listen, you know, I'm not really concerned about what what your meeting and the divers. I'm looking at us spending money on a vehicle that is not, we might have to end up spending in the long run $20,000 if we want a truck for them to compare to that. I'm looking at $35,000 if we were to buy that truck somewhere else. My concern, Chief, is
if I may,
we
Mr.
let.
Chairman, where did you exactly get that
It was just on the internet. You just go on the internet. My question is,
What site
Chief,
did you go to, Mr. Chairman?
Wait, I have a question, Chief. I'm asking the questions right now. My question is, we
Go ahead.
let a fire apparatus go here to the town of Westport, and they're using it on their front line.
No, they're not, they're using
You know,
it as
or a backup.
They're using as a backup brush truck.
But they're using it,
They're
you know,
using it as a backup brush truck. We had no
and we
use for that
how
truck.
much did we let that go for?
Actually, the Prudential Committee voted to donate it, I think, for $1.
Per your request. Okay.
And per the
your
fire
request.
chief, that was told to the voters, that truck was going.
Well-
And like I'm saying, if the Prudential Committee, who voted twice and signed the contract twice to trade the vehicle in, if the Prudential Committee so chooses to rescind the vote and try to keep it, that's fine. All I'm saying is, the new truck, the $10,000 that we were going to get in a trade-in was already put towards, with the money, was already put towards the new truck. So, as the fire chief, when the new truck comes, as long as the Prudential Committee has $10,000 in this fiscal budget,
Well, I'm sure,
To
Chief,
go
we
get
can, we
the
can
truck.
cut. There's places we can cut if we need to. And that's how I feel as one member, because that's really important. I mean, we're going to spend $10,000 on a wall out there that needed to be
that
repointed.
you have children that are
You know.
playing on that are falling.
You know.
Didn't we?
I don't have it.
more than what the truck
Chief,
was
that,
worth?
it's just like you're saying that it costs us so much money to repair that vehicle that we have, Rescue 6. When in fact, how much money did we spend on the Tahoe that's out there? Are you kidding me? You were coming in here with thousands of dollars on the Tahoe that we use. So
what?
on that Tahoe, the deputy chief's vehicle.
Once again,
Okay.
if you go back to the minutes
So-
of the meeting, the fire chief told the Prudential Committee back then to trade it in, and the Prudential Committee voted against the chief and kept the vehicle, and 2 months later, we
Yeah, we're
spent
not going to trade
$5,000.
it in and spend $40,000 on a vehicle for a deputy chief.
We don't even, Mr. Chairman, that vehicle, if we keep Rescue 6, once again, if the Prudential Committee wants to keep Rescue 6, keep Rescue 6. That means the bucket truck is going to have to sit outside, and Utility 1 doesn't make a difference.
I don't know. I was in the garage, Chief, and I thought keeping Rescue 6, we're not going to have a problem. And
The
fitting
new truck
what we
is
need in
longer.
there.
The new truck is longer than Rescue 6. Rescue 6 and the new truck will fit in that bed, no doubt.
I think there was
It's
enough
gonna
room
be-
in that garage where we can still fit Rescue 6 and fit the other apparatuses in that garage. Because if it's not Rescue 6, it's going to have to be another vehicle for the dive team. So, I don't know. I'm just speaking for myself as one member. If the other members feel the same way, then they feel the same way. I just think it's just not fiscal responsible to let a vehicle go for $10,000 when in fact, they're selling it, someone else is selling it for $35,000, one similar to that, or even if they were selling it for $15,000. I think to have a vehicle that we need for our dive team is going to cost more than $10,000 or something like that. And that's
fine.
I was looking at that vehicle last week, and I couldn't believe we were letting it go.
I just wish,
you know.
with all due respect,
Yeah.
I just wish the Prudential Committee a year ago looked at that vehicle.
Well, it's not really my job to look at it, but you know something?
We brought it up. We had this conversation before the contract was
Chief,
signed.
you should have said to us, look, the Rescue 6 would be a good vehicle to keep. We shouldn't let it go for $10,000.
The divers said they didn't want it. The divers back then said they did not want that vehicle. It did not suit them because they could not keep their equipment inside the cab. That the equipment had to stay outside the cab, that we'd have to redo the cab. That it was better to get a Snap-on truck or a Mack truck that they could set up the cabinets inside the truck. That's why it was given the 3 options. I don't have an issue keeping the truck because if the voters vote come July 1st, there's an article for dive equipment, maintenance and equipment, or whatever it is. Whatever money needs to get fixed for that truck will come out of that account.
No, we don't have to get out of that account. We can find it somewhere else if we need to. It seems like we always find money for other items that might not be as important as that.
And I'll give you my, as chief of the department, I don't think that is the proper vehicle for the dive team.
Well, what do you think would be?
I think a Snap-on truck or a Mack truck, a fully open back truck that they could customize themselves exactly like District 2 did. Instead of taking this truck and re-customizing that body.
I'm just wondering if this District 2 or anyone else would really like to have that for a dive, for their dive team, or the police department, because, I mean, I would.
Again,
Well, let's.
as long as we have the insurance that there's money going to come somewhere.
I think that, as one member, I would actually like to send it off to legal counsel to see,
To see if we can, I
if
know
we
we
can
signed
do-
it in the contract.
But we still have to
Before
sign.
we actually needed,
Right.
thinking about buying a dive truck, but if we can pay the difference
Yeah.
to the contract,
Because that was,
whatever
that
getting traded in for the
$10,000
dive.
is actually a down payment. So if we match that and pay $10,000, I can't see why we cannot keep that truck. So is that a motion on the floor?
I'll make a motion. to try
A motion to send it to legal counsel, see if in fact we can not trade in Rescue 6, and we can send a check to them for the difference of $10,000 to keep that vehicle. Is there a second?
I disagree.
Right.
I don't second that motion.
I second it. All in favor? All right.
I think we should stand by our original decision, trade it in, we made our choices, we should have done our homework together a year ago, and I think
Well,
we're...
I don't think it's up to us to
Well,
really
they
look at
really
this,
didn't
but-
want the truck to begin with
But-
because it's a
but also
liability
a
for
year
them to
ago-
sell. They sold
That-
you know what I mean, for them to sell it. So they might even be more comfortable with just paying the difference that we were going to trade it in and keep.
But
the
a
truck.
year ago, we spent money revitalizing some old suits. We'll get 3 more years, we'll get 4 more years out of them. A week ago, I was kind of ambushed, 2 weeks ago, with we need new suits.
Thank you. You wouldn't be the only
Because,
one.
because I wouldn't have voted to spend the money a year ago if we weren't gonna get 2 or 3 more years. Now, I voted for it because I'm not gonna put anyone in jeopardy. But now we're gonna be chasing just like this. Just like we did with the Tahoe. We're gonna be chasing, throwing good money out the
Well,
back.
that's
You know,
see, the thing
it's-
is, because that's who receiving information that we are, okay? But when we have a
The
vehicle
truck
that
was
has
sitting out
22...
there, truck was sitting out there a year ago. If we were really concerned with it, we could have gone out there
Yeah, but you know
and
what?
looked
This
at it
board
a year
has so
ago.
much going on, Kevin, as you know. We have so
I
much going
just-
on that it's
I don't
really,
agree.
I don't focus on something like that until all of a sudden it's right before me.
When we're
Last
spending
week, it was right out there.
$600,000, we should be focusing on it, or we shouldn't vote on it.
Well, I think
until
that's the
we got
chief's
time to vote.
responsibility, but when I walk out there and I say, wow, look at that, what are we doing letting this vehicle
With all
go?
due respect,
You know?
Mr. Chairman, you keep on saying it's the chief's responsibility, and the chief is saying that that vehicle will not suit the divers. You have one diver out of 6 telling the board that that will suit the divers. If we pull up
Wait,
the
Chief,
record,
hold on.
but
One
Mr. Chairman,
diver.
you keep on saying that it's the chief's job, and the chief of this department is telling you that that truck will not suit the district. The chief is telling you up front that he foresees that truck being, just like Utility 1, a money pit. Just like Utility 1, because right out of the get-go, as soon as that truck gets taken out of service, it's going to have to go have its brakes redone because it keeps on rolling down the hill. Its maxis keep on letting go, and we keep on taking the truck out of service until the chief, so there's no liability, can drive it down to Bob's, have it sit in Bob's for a day or two, to re-get the brakes up and running, for it to come back here, for it to sit a month or so, and then have it roll down the hill again.
Well,
That's
if it only
fine.
needs brakes, it needs
You-
brakes. I think we need someone to really look at that vehicle then and tell us, I can't figure out how a vehicle has 22,000 miles on it and is not
You've
like
had,
a
you've
good
had 2
vehicle.
companies come down and put a bid in that looked at a truck and gave you what its value was. 2 companies came down.
That's fine. I just want to know if we can use that for the rescue team. It has 22,000 miles on it. I can't see. It just does not make sense that we can't not use a vehicle that has 22,000 miles on a diesel engine, just to get us from point A to B. And if we had to do some modifications in it.
And as chief of the department,
You know?
the last time the divers were called out was to go to mutual aid to District 2. And as chief of the department, once again, for the record, I don't think that's the proper vehicle for the dive team. I think it's going to cost the taxpayers more money than what it's
Chief,
worth.
this department has cost the taxpayers a lot of money since I've been on this board, you know? I mean, I'm trying to make sure that we're
That's
fiscal
fine.
responsible, Chief, okay?
That's fine. The chief brought up, just please, stop saying it was the chief's responsibility. The chief brought everything to the table. He hid nothing in regards to that truck, and the Prudential Committee still voted to trade it in. The chief didn't hide nothing, that was the best truck. The chief wanted to keep that truck, but unfortunately, it did not suit the district, okay? It had safety issues to it. The custom designed a new truck so the dive equipment can fit on it. If we knew we were going to keep it, maybe the new truck wouldn't have cost us so much
Well, I
to put
think,
some for the dive equipment.
I think that we should get some outside information
Well, I'd
on
like
whether
to just
that would
ask
be
the
good.
chief one question in regards to the truck.
Go ahead.
Does the divers need a truck? I mean,
No.
are they going from here to the boat, or do they drive the dive truck to a
If-
scene?
if
Or
I
like
may-
if they have a dive truck, that's
Probably next month, the lieutenant is meeting with the procurement officer. Then the lieutenant, and he can speak for himself, is going to go for dive bags. So all the members can have dive bag, new lockers and dive bags, so the members can come in, grab all the equipment out, and go.
There's only one thing, Chief. I went out there and I was looking at the lockers and all the equipment they have. And by the time they do all that, wouldn't it be more advantageous if all the equipment was in one vehicle, so they get in that vehicle and they roll to the scene
To
because
go from here
to where?
to our boat.
Forget about the boat. We had an incident a couple of weeks ago. We didn't even need the boat. Where they went to Clark's Cove and they didn't even need the boat. They needed to get to point A to B. And how did they get there, by the way?
Well, you had
Did they
one
use their
diver that
personal
showed up on
vehicles?
scene without his gear, and you had another diver that didn't even have his suit, his brand new suit that sat for 4 months, that he never even tried it on.
I just think that other rescue teams or recovery, they have their own vehicle, and that's how they get from point A to B. You can't expect a firefighter on a dive team to be coming here, getting all his equipment, which is everything from, I saw all the gear. I couldn't believe it. And what is he going to do with it? Run to his personal vehicle and go to a scene? If you don't use the boat and you have to go to a scene not using the boat, how does he get to that scene?
What I'm trying to
Is it
say is
personal
this.
vehicle?
What people have to understand is unless this is a career fire department, and you have career firefighters who are divers, this is a call department. The chances are, during the day, of us having a diver, especially in the summer, is slim to none. The dive team is more of a recovery team than it is a rescue team. The firefighters in this department, the last rescues that have been done in this fire department were done by firefighters. Joe Medeiros is the last one who did a rescue with myself and Lieutenant Paul Bro in the Gumby suits, in the cold water suits. We had those two cohoggers out on dry land before the first diver even showed. The first diver even showed. Because during the day, our divers, it's a call
So
department.
are you against the dive team?
No, I am not against the dive team, but we cannot think as a call department that our dive team is a rescue. Unless, God forbid, the bell rings right now, we have them here. At 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, we'll probably have, if Bobby's on duty, until he gets his new job, we got one diver. One diver. Somebody goes into the water tomorrow, God forbid, it's going to be the Gumby suits, the firefighters, jumping in and doing what we've done since 1917. The last time we've used divers was 7 years ago. I am all in favor of divers.
Well-
But what I'm trying to say is we have to come into the realization that the divers are a rescue team. Within 2 weeks, actually it was 2 weeks ago, the chief, and as Mr. Mello put it, blindsided, and he was told that the divers didn't need new suits, everybody was happy. He was just told that after the meeting that one guy needs a suit. Mr. LeDuc said he's fine with his suit. Mr. DeCudo said he's fine with his suit. Mr. Brocious has got brand new. O'Neill's got brand new. And Brian Ferreira said he was fine. But the Prudential Committee was told everybody needs new suits. Mr. Mello and I were never told that. So when I did the budget, we were going for one suit. The Prudential Committee, unfortunately, was told everybody needs suits. No one has talked to the chief about keeping the truck. I've talked to all the divers except David O'Neill. I talked to Dirk LeDuc. He says he's never talked to the Prudential Committee, other than 3 weeks ago about it. I talked to Lieutenant Kudo. Nope. The Ferreras? Nope. Brocious? Nope. So that's where I'm lost. I walk into a meeting, and all of a sudden, like I said, all of a sudden the scuttlebutt started last week when I was in D.C. that the Prudential Committee's thinking about keeping Rescue 6. And I'm sitting there saying, okay. Yesterday, the Prudential Committee comes in, 2 members into my office and say, we got to tighten up our budget. We got to tighten it up, tighten it up, tighten it up. And now I walk into a meeting. The Prudential Committee never even called me and told me, hey, this is what we're going to do. I had both of you in my office yesterday. Not once did you guys say, hey, Chief. You talked about everything else. Not once did either one of you say, hey, Chief, by the way, tomorrow night, we're going to talk about possibly keeping Rescue 6.
I said it.
No. And what did I tell you? And what did we have our discussion, Joe? Our discussion was, well, technically, the divers they're going to get their bags, and they're going to run down to the boat. That was our discussion. And now, I walk in this evening, and I'm sure Mr. Mello probably had no idea that Rescue 6 was going to get brought up. I walk in this evening, I see DCTV here, and I'm saying to myself, the Chiefs, something's going to be coming up. I just wish that if the Prudential Committee was going to say something, you guys would have gave me a heads up.
Well, first of all, Chief, I'm not going to talk to my other members because it's a violation of the open meeting law. I try not to discuss business that, unless I'm here with my full board, or at least one member, at least we have quorum. And as far as talking to you about it, there were some other issues going on, and there's no reason for me to talk to you. I came in, I spent 15, 20 minutes on another issue, and I had to go. I had a meeting, that's it.
But, Mr. Chairman, if you would have said, hey, by the way, tomorrow night, we're going to talk about Rescue 6, can you get the mechanical records up on it? How much has the district spent since January on maintenance for the truck? I could have had that information. What I'm trying to say is there's a window that's getting short, and I'm praying that all of a sudden we end up with a $250,000 chassis sitting in the back parking lot because Pierce gets upset and says, you know what? You guys want to breach the contract? Forget it.
Well, Chief, I don't think that's going to happen. You know what? Don't go to the extreme on this. Okay, it's not going. I don't think that's going to happen.
And as the only other thing, because Attorney Murray's waiting for me, is in talking about buying things and donating it. Chief Timothy Lee is asking for all the surplus electronics off the boat that was just replaced with new electronics. If the Prudential Committee wants to donate it to the police department.
The police department for their dive boat. They wanted to see if we can give them the electronics. Our old electronics.
So what is this for?
Our old electronics that we just removed off of our dive boat and put our new ones in. The PD's requesting for our old stuff if we'd donate to them to use on their boat because they got nothing, so this is better than nothing.
Oh, but the chief told us we needed new equipment on our dive boat because we couldn't use this equipment.
We needed new equipment because part of it was if we didn't replace it, if something went, part of it was already out. Anyone, no. Part of
radar itself.
Yeah, part of it was already
complicated. Nobody really knew
broken.
how to use it.
Okay.
The GPS was outdated. You know how GPSs are year after year.
And while the boat was out of the water.
All that electronics was on the original trip anyway, from way back. And that was transferred over to the new boat. It was just time for an upgrade. It was never said that it didn't never work. It worked. I brought it before the chief. I said it would be a nice time to get a simpler GPS with the radar overlay, replace 3 items on the boat, 3 electronics that were clustered about into one.
Well, it was out of the water, it saved us money. So
Exactly.
if it went back in the water, they let go completely, we would have to pay to haul it out, then have the work done.
Yeah, it was a
and then
good
put
time to
back.
do it. I brought it forward. It's a lot simpler system. And the PD had come forward. They had nothing. Asked us what we were doing with it. I directed it to the
Okay.
chief.
Is there a motion on the floor to donate?
I'll make a motion to donate it to the PD if they're interested.
Where is that?
I'll second as long as nobody, a year from now doesn't bring it up that we shouldn't have donated it.
Well, it's happened before. And that is to donate any used equipment we have from our fireboat to the police department. All in favor?
Aye.
You have a gentleman's hand up in line.
Yes, Troy?
Just for the board's information, as a procedural process, with any items that are purchased through the dive team, if there's an item that we need, a quote will come forward, the quote will go to Marcel, the procurement officer, with a signature from me, signature from the fire chief, then it goes to your board. If it doesn't have my signature, the procurement signature, and the fire chief's signature, and you don't have any questions from me about it, it's a null and void issue. So that procedure must be followed at all times. So if someone comes to you and says, hey, we need X, Y, Z, call me first. I should have the answers for you. Collectively, we talk about it as a dive team, and we come to that decision as a group. Rather than one person making the decision on their own, we come to that decision as a group, so that everybody knows what we're doing at the same time.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, before you adjourn, one quick thing. I just talked to Attorney Murray. I have to meet with him tomorrow. If you have the contract, if you like, well, I got to go to his office. If you have the contract that the Prudential Committee signed with Pierce, I can drop it off with him.
Well, we'll decide what we want to do. I mean, we have 2 legal counsels. So,
With all due respect, I thought on March 23rd, I think it was, that the Prudential Committee voted that any district business would go Attorney Murray, and any Prudential Committee business would go Attorney Savastano.
okay, well, I as one member think that we should have the option to use either lawyer that we'd want, whether it's Attorney Murray, Partridge, Stone, Hahn, or Anthony Savastano, who's also the town. So I'd like to clarify, maybe this board should clarify that it's at this point, it's at our option to use either one. We had a matter that was pending within the district, and it seems like that matter is, at this point, might not be pending any longer. So I would entertain a motion that at our discretion we can use either firm that we want to use.
I thought we already voted to do that.
Well, yeah, well, we voted. I just want to make it clear because the chief is making a statement. We did vote that we can use Anthony Savastano, the firm that the town uses, for any additional, and it's in the minutes, items that we need. I'd like to clarify that we can use that firm if we want, if we need to, for any other items.
Which, and I agree, after reading the minutes, I do agree that that's what
Right.
how you read it. I'd like to have you read it out of the minutes. Which minutes which group was it? March 9th?
I think it was March 9th.
I believe it was the meeting after March 9th.
Maybe the 16th.
No, lately we had a lot of them in a row.
Did you take the 16th back?
No, we should have it.
Could have been the 23rd.
I got the 23rd, and I didn't see it in that one. March 29th. March 23rd. No.
It's either the 16th, I think, check the 16th or the 16th. That's your copy,
Right here.
I think it's page 2.
I have it. It is March 23rd. After a motion was made by committee member Joseph Sylvia and seconded by committee member Kevin Mello, it was voted unanimously to appoint Anthony Savastano as an additional counsel for the district. And that was voted on. The chief here?
Okay.
So,
Read it in.
so, I mean, I would suggest that we send the information down to Anthony Savastano. I don't think we need a vote on that.
It's just to look at it and
Right.
see if we can just, contact
Yeah.
Pierce and see if
Right.
they'll accept, the dollar
Yes.
value of what the trade-in value
Right.
was.
And in the
if not,
meantime,
then-
I actually think that we should go out to an outside service to find, for our information as a board, because we're hearing something from the chief different than, I just think it's just common sense if we have a vehicle with 22,000 miles on it. And to see if in fact that would be advantageous to use, for the dive team.
But you're forgetting the fact that it's like a boat. You can't go by miles. How many hours does it have? You can't go on a generator. How many miles
But
a
hours
generator has?
was to be used at the fire department for, when they base it on hours, chief, when they base the vehicle on hours for what?
Hours of the engine running.
Engine running.
So,
Engine, what engine?
The main engine running. The generator engine, when Chairman Anthony Andres was there, R.A. Mitchell, I believe it was, had put a gasket in, made up a gasket. That's why you can see diesel fuel leaking out of it. They had said that the generator...
Yeah, but that's the generator. I'm talking about, so you're talking about hours on the generator,
No, I'm talking about the generator has its own hours.
right?
The engine. When we do when fire trucks are discussed, you do not do mileage.
So
you
how many-
do engine hours.
Okay, so how many engine hours are on there?
If it has an engine meter on it, then you can
I'd
tell.
like
If
to
it
know.
doesn't, well, whoever wants to.
I don't think it does. No longer meter on that.
When they plug it into a scanner,
Right.
they can see how many
They can
hours.
see. I like to have it outside, just,
I don't think that's a good vehicle. If the dive team needs a vehicle, other than to get to the boat or to get to Clark's Cove, they need a four-wheel drive. They need something they can get up, going down to Demarest Lloyd. You're going to drive that thing on the beach? You're going to have to get big
I
wheel
know.
out there
Well,
to tow
well,
it out.
that's fine.
So-
But certainly a truck that the chief has just recommended is not gonna do that either. So maybe we need to look at what would be the most advantageous vehicle that
A
they, I
trailer
mean, and we
hooked up
have,
to
we
the
have.
Chiefs,
well, we
a
have
trailer,
We have 60 days, or 90, 60 days before the new truck comes in?
If not less.
All right, so 45
If-
days.
if-
I think we need to figure out what type of vehicle we need, okay?
not
Because if
convinced
that's
we need a
not gonna
vehicle
make
yet.
it, then, in fact, the one that the chief is suggesting, a Mack, is not gonna make it either.
If I may, and Chief Dumont's here, so you can ask him. Since I've been chief, we started with, I believe it was Emergency Management's old van. The divers wanted Emergency Management's old van. We got the old van, sat in the back parking lot. Nobody did nothing with it. We had, with the past Prudential committee, we started with a 12-foot trailer. The idea of the trailer came up, put all the ice sleds, put everything in the trailer. That way any vehicle can hook up to it, take the vehicle. The trailer went from a 12-foot to an 18-foot to a 28-foot trailer. So then the trailer went down. We had, matter of fact, Mr. Santos donated a truck for the dive team. Nobody touched it. It sat in the back parking lot. We had it towed out. The idea, my opinion, speaking to the divers, Rescue 6 is too big. A Mack truck is small, not as high as that truck. That truck is too high to get into certain spots. It's wider than a Mack truck, a Mack or a Snap-on truck. So it's a big truck. What the divers have said in the past with the trailer was an extended cab, four-wheel drive pickup truck. That, you're 100% correct, Mr. Mello. They can put their bags in the back of the truck and drive down any beach. They can take the Zodiac, hook the Zodiac on the back of that pickup truck, and drive it down to any beach, any stream, and launch it. So, for 12 years, the vehicle that we've been hearing would be best would be an extended cab four-wheel drive pickup truck. Now, Chief Dumont, he probably had the same going down that I had in regards to the dive team.
Wait, you're telling me an extended cab four-wheel drive is gonna fit all the equipment in? Or it would just...
Bags in the back of the truck that they could get
See,
them down to the beach.
I kind of disagree. So I would like to just ask some outside help on this, some other opinions, other departments on what they suggest, and see if if other departments would love to have that vehicle to use for a dive team. I just want to dot my i's and cross my t's before letting that vehicle go. So,
And like I
Just
said,
like us, as far as going to go on a beach or something, definitely ain't an ideal truck to go on beaches.
I don't think any
You know
truck
that.
is unless you have a 4x4.
And
Why don't we pay for a
I-
Humvee? Can we get a Humvee?
Well, I was just thinking about that.
Army surplus?
the only thing I'm
Write a
thinking
grant?
about is if they're taking gear from here to there,
Yeah, it's just that you should be able to get from point A to point
it
B
should be a trailer.
fastest
That's the
way
case.
possible.
A trailer. Everything's in it. Hook it to a truck and go.
Yeah, so I think we should.
just so you know, we have gotten prices for Wells Fargo trailers, and actually, I think Lieutenant Mark Andrade was in charge of the dive team, or Lieutenant Paul Bro, at the time. They actually had a beautiful setup for the Wells Fargo trailer with the front of the truck, the front of the trailer being set up so they can repair all the equipment.
I have a question.
That
Chief.
everything's
back
Wait,
to before
Chief,
that.
is there any dive team that you know of that has a trailer instead of a
Yep.
vehicle?
Mount Poison has it. I believe Fairhaven has it.
Yeah.
There's several that have
Because it
trailers.
seems like
There's
Dartmouth,
less.
Dartmouth has a full truck. So doesn't Dartmouth Police.
Dartmouth District 2, I believe, do not quote me, I believe District 2 paid less than $10,000 for that truck, and all the divers, they jumped in, they set it up, they had, I think it was hot oil Toyota, paint it, donate, they had to pay for the paint, and all that with it. They have a problem. Chief Andrade was here either Monday, talking about his truck that's why they're going, I believe, this year for an article for a bigger station, that the vehicle cannot stay outside.
Okay.
What I'm getting from the divers, Mr. Chairman, is like I said, I just talked to the last diver that I haven't talked to. Their opinion is the truck is too big.
You know what, Chief? I really think if you're against that truck, I don't think anyone on the dive team who comes in under you as a
trust
chief
me,
is going to say, Chief, we really need that.
With all due respect, somebody has, because something's changed since last August
Yeah,
when the Prudential Committee signed the
Well,
contract.
the chairman went out there last week and looked at that vehicle, and then I started really, looking in it, opening it up, and seeing, wow.
And
And then
what
I'm the one, actually, not the dive team. I'm the one that started asking them questions. And you know what? They really didn't want to, tell me that much. And I said, look, we appropriate the money. I want to know what's up with this vehicle. Why? And I said, why can't we use this for the dive team? To me, looking at that vehicle, I think it would be ideal, because even if you need to cut a passage so you can go in and out with the equipment you can. When I saw their lockers and I saw all the equipment in their lockers and how much time it would take them to get all the equipment out, and not in just one. It's not as easy as you're saying, Chief, as taking a bag and walking to a vehicle. It's not that easy. I mean, we can display all the equipment here, so everyone can see how much equipment we
purchased all
have.
the equipment in 12 years, Mr. Chairman. I'm not debating, okay? As chief, we did a budget. All I'm saying is if the Prudential Committee chooses to keep the truck, that's fine. The Prudential Committee has already assured the district that if we do keep it, the Prudential Committee will find the funds to maintain it and ensure that we'll get the rest of the money for the new truck. My concern, Mr. Chairman, is the new truck. That's my concern, is the new truck.
What's your concern about the new truck?
To make sure we have all the monies that were appropriated for the new truck. And in the monies of the $600,000, there was a $10,000 trade-in allowed.
We just might have to cut. You know what? We just might have to cut somewhere else for that $10,000. That's how I feel. There's other items that we have, within the department here that I'm sure we can cut. If we really need that $10,000, this department has spent some money, and I think over the last years foolishly, and that's just my opinion. And I think that if we need to find the $10,000, we'll have to find it. And that's all. So, as one member, I would like to just go out and ask, and I'll do it myself. I'll ask and receive any information, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, on whether that vehicle would be advantageous for this department to keep for a dive. And I will ask other departments, and I'll even go out of the area to ask if they would love to have a vehicle like that for their dive team. And that's it. And if I get the response that, oh no, it's not conducive and we wouldn't want it, and then that's fine. I'm just not comfortable in giving up a vehicle for $10,000 that we possibly can use. And maybe I'm wrong, but I'd like to do some research. Anything else? Anything else, Chief, you need to bring before us?
Just for your information, the warrant's gone to the printer, the annual report, I've already received the ballots, and also the Chronicles received the warrant to go in the newspaper. They're looking at it to get it back to me to proofread, and everything is all set to
Great.
go.
Good job. Any other? Actually, I would like to make a statement. There was a suit filed against the district in several offices back in, I think it was approximately 2005. This matter has been resolved by mutual agreement of parties involved. And due to ongoing obligations of both parties, it cannot be discussed at this time. When obligations are finally concluded, it will be public information. That's it.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, one thing before you adjourn. A couple of weeks ago, I gave you a draft copy of my contract. Didn't know if the Prudential Committee was going
No,
to
Chief,
entertain
we've been
anything.
so inundated with so much.
Just asking, Mr. Chairman.
No, I haven't looked at it. I don't know if my other members did. I haven't, because we have been so inundated on this board. We're supposed to meet every second Wednesday of the month. It seems like we're meeting on a regular weekly basis. We have been, we've had issues such as the warrant. We've had petitions come up to go on the warrant. It seems like every time we have a meeting, something new comes up, and we'll always send it off to legal counsel. And if it's not that, it was an ongoing suit that was filed against us that we've had to spend some time on. There's been a lot that's transpired for this board, in the last 6 months. Actually, it goes back to 2.5, almost 3 years when I get on. And so I haven't. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor? At approximately 9:05 p.m.